Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Here in this video, we're going to go over everything you need to know in regards to AMC stock today. AMC stock slightly in the green. It's a pretty rough day for most parts of the markets. Believe it or not, even though the indexes are higher, a lot of stocks are not doing so great. So the fact AMC stock is green today is fantastic. You can look at something like a Fubo down 4%, SoFi down about 4%, many other names like that are just not participating, not doing very well. It's really your big tech AI driven kind of day again in our markets. Microsoft up 1.5%, the Nasdaq up 1.5%, S&P up about 1%, Tesla up a third of 1%, Nvidia up 3.25%, and even Broadcom, that reports earnings today and after hours, up about 3.25% as well. So we are going to get some important earnings today and after hours. I'll also go over how that could be important for our markets and definitely something to be watching. And really, I mean, the AI trade could be tested a little bit here in after hours, and I think that's the most important part to take out of this. Now, we did hear from Fed Jerome Powell. Fed Jerome Powell was, again, kind of like a nothing burger. He did go into a little bit more detail after he was asked basically over and over again to start lowering rates. He explained that they don't have to get inflation all the way down to 2% to start cutting rates, and that is their plan, is to start reducing rates. And, just to get back to kind of neutral, to not be so restrictive. Powell said, quote, we are something along these lines. I'm going to paraphrase here. He said, we are very restrictive, and that's kind of been thrown into question recently to, are we restrictive? Are we not? Are we at neutral? Are we not? There's been a lot of talk about that, that maybe we weren't even at restrictive yet, and Powell made it very clear that we are, and that should allow them to start reducing rates to get back to a kind of normalized position for Fed policy. So that was definitely a positive here on the day today. You can look at 10-year Treasury yields. 10-year Treasury yields are basically flat, but over the past 2 days, really couple of days, they've been falling quite a bit from 4.32% or so on February 22nd. Today it's March 7th, and you're down about 27 or so basis points, down to 4.11%. So you're definitely seeing 10-year Treasury yields acting as if the Fed is getting ready to reduce rates. That being said, AMC stock has been going higher the last couple of days after AMC earnings. 3 trading days ago on March 5th, AMC stock was up 4%. Yesterday, AMC was up 1.33%. Today, AMC is now down 0.5%. You're really at a very critical level for AMC. Let's be honest here. Your 50-day moving average is sitting at $4.68 right now. AMC stock at one point today hit a high of about $4.90 per share. You got rejected at that level. There's a lot of incentives to keep AMC under that 50-day moving average, because if AMC gets above that 50-day moving average, then you can start to get a lot more aggressive activity above that, right? You can start to get into a larger rally potentially. You can start to get into a larger uptrend for AMC. If you get above that 50-day moving average, your next level of resistance is really not up until your 100-day moving average. And even just looking at the charts, I mean, the next level you'd really be watching is about $6.25 or so. That is almost exactly where the 100-day moving average is, at $6.36 per share. So that would open up the door for almost $2, about $2 worth of additional upside. And that's not exactly, what market makers, what hedge funds and institutions that are short in AMC want to have happen. And that's potentially, what we would be looking at if AMC does close above that 50-day moving average. I think it's still a toss-up. There's a chance that happens by the end of the day today. Would I count on that? Obviously not, but there is a chance that does happen. Now, with that being said, we do have a major catalyst coming today in after hours that you need to be aware about, okay? Couple different earnings specifically. that will be coming out. You have Broadcom. You have Costco, Marvell, MongoDB, DocuSign, Samsara, Petrobras, Big Bear AI, Gap, and Runway. Now, is that Big Bear? Yeah, Big Bear AI. Specifically, Broadcom, Costco, and Marvell. I always say Marvel. It's Marvell. Okay. Broadcom is seen as the second best AI stock out there by a lot of people. They're not exactly into producing GPUs or semiconductors. They're actually more into producing like Ethernet cables and servers to connect different GPUs in like server racks, right? So Broadcom, great company. They have a market cap of over $600 billion, which is kind of insane. I think Broadcom has to put up some crazy good numbers today and after hours to justify the stock being at almost $1,400 per share. Like, the stock has done very, very well. Any weakness in their earnings today is not going to be great. Okay. So, is that going to happen? I don't know. Inevitably, these stocks will start to miss on earnings. Even just meeting expectations is probably not enough to get the stock to go higher. Now, if Broadcom misses, obviously, then the stock could fall big. Am I expecting that? Not really, no. Am I expecting them to give you the shock and awe factor? Not really as well. So that's going to be a big test for your AI trade. If Broadcom or Marvell have not the greatest numbers, or just maybe they meet expectations but the stocks fall, then that could definitely open the door for a give back to some of your AI stocks out there. Think Nvidia, think AMD, think SMCI, think Dell and Intel and all of these other stocks that have done well on the back of AI. A lot of it is really trading algorithms at this point. Like, are people really going out there and piling into Nvidia at $920? Are they piling into Broadcom at $1,400? Probably not. A lot of it is just algorithmic trading activity. And lately there's been a lot of that. So definitely something that I'm watching pretty closely. It could set you up for a little bit of a larger rotation coming tomorrow if these earnings are not great. And that could be really good for AMC. That could be a big catalyst for AMC. If you do see the AI trade kind of get back a little bit, that's going to open up a lot of market cap, to go into other areas of our markets. Let's say Broadcom or Marvell have bad earnings, right? Or the stocks just fall and Nvidia falls and AMD falls. All of that market cap loss from those stocks can go into other areas of our markets and maybe allow other stocks to do, better than maybe what they have recently. So that's a potential outcome there. Costco is another one that just keeps going higher. I mean, Costco is kind of insane. The stock is straight up. If Costco, same thing there. If they don't give you just stellar earnings and fantastic guidance, the stock is probably going to fall. And again, that maybe could allow money to go elsewhere into other areas of our markets. Costco is like almost a $400 billion company as well now, due to the rally that they have seen. MongoDB, data center provider, data analytics provider, data platform provider, not really important for the overall markets or AI trade, but some people group them in that category nonetheless. DocuSign, Samsara, Petrobras, Gap, Runway, none of those companies are important. Big Bear AI, I need to look into that one a little bit more, but judging off the name, maybe they could be, influenced by the AI trade, or if their earnings are good or bad, maybe they can have an effect on the markets, but I'll have to look into that one a little bit more. But nonetheless, that's very, very important. I think the only real other AI stock you're going to have earnings for is Adobe, and that will be next week. I believe after that, all of your quote unquote AI stock earnings are over with. So tomorrow is going to be a big catalyst for that, just because, today and after hours, you're going to get the earnings. Tomorrow is when you're actually going to open for trading and see where these stocks go. And I'm expecting a large move higher or a large move lower for the whole AI sector. And again, a move lower could be positive for AMC. It could bring more money back into a stock like AMC, maybe your small, big cap stocks that have been getting drained of liquidity as of lately. Now, tomorrow morning, you're also going to have your non-farm payroll report. So that's going to be another big catalyst that will be coming out tomorrow morning. So do not forget that one. How could you forget that one? That's going to be very important as well. If you take a look here at the option activity from hedge funds and institutions today in AMC, you have seen 2 orders totaling $108,000 with a positive order value of 100%. And we do have an April 19th $6 call worth about $10,000 and a January 16th, 2026 $5 call worth $97,000. I do think on a risk to reward basis, it does make a lot of sense, being long in AMC right now, just given the stock's down 99% from all-time highs. Can you, rally from here? Probably. If you take a look at the short interest, that continues to climb as well. Definitely getting more short positions being taken out in AMC. You do have short interest percentage of free flow at 13.16%, $157.22 million worth of short positions in AMC. Days to cover 2.16, 34.48 million shares that are currently sold short. Shares out on loan 46.04 million. Cost to borrow 1.1%, utilization of 67.9%, and a short score of 67.85 out of 100. So definitely data is starting to get better and better for AMC, which is obviously a good thing, right? You want to see things get even more squeezy for AMC. You can never go wrong with that. Now let's take a look at AMC on StockTwits, get a feel for the sentiment out there, mostly from retail investors, and surprisingly, it's bearish today. Yesterday you were at 60, which was bullish. Today you're at 42, which is bearish. It's just skipped right past neutral and went to bearish, so not exactly great. Message volume is a little bit on the higher side today than yesterday. Yesterday was at 50, categorized as normal. Today you're at 52, little bit higher than yesterday, so still in normal. Participation ratio is at 54, right on the edge of being on the high side. So quite a few different accounts talking about AMC, not just a couple accounts kind of spamming, a bunch of messages for AMC. So that's overall pretty positive as well. If we take a look at the Stonko Tracker data for this Friday, you do have about 20,000 calls currently in the money, 46,000 calls out the money. In the money puts at about 3,400. Out the money puts at about 23,000. So decent amount of option activity, especially calls in the money for this week. The big action could be next week, where you have 12,000 calls currently in the money. And you do have 246,000 calls out the money, 26,000 puts in the money, and 114,000 puts that are out the money. All of that for next week. And I mean, by the time we get to Monday, you're going to see a lot of people start to buy those weekly options. And even throughout the rest of this week, I mean, you could see a lot more even option activity for next week than we are seeing right now, right? You could see some big jumps in option activity. 300, 400,000 calls next week. Definitely could happen. So there is that. Let me know what you think about this information down below in the comment section. We have a lot to go over in the next video, so stay tuned to the channel for that one. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.